Secondary break, ACC tournament. It is our first morning show. If you guys are new to the show, basically, I'm Graham Bunn. I'm a former D1 point guard. I'm a diehard Tar Heel. I got my brother, Mr. Zach Talitsky, Carolina alum. We are essentially at its core, at its fundamental, an all things UNC basketball men's recap show. And it's been really good sledding the last week here. We take down Duke at Duke. Not going to mention what happened to Duke yesterday. This is all about Carolina. We handle business against Florida State. We are now have advanced out of the quarterfinals into the semifinals today versus Pitt, which I think is going to be a crazy tough game. But before we get into that, FSU, the guys come out and they handle business. I mean, I'm here at the game, and I remember you saying this live. When you see it in person, it is a much different experience via just the size, the speed, the strength, the amount of space these players cover. And again, I played college basketball, but it's been a minute. So to see it, you're reminded. And there's several things that stood out to me in person. I was like, okay, I'm going to be a little easier on this person because that looked a lot harder in person than it does on the broadcast. But Carolina wins. It was a beautiful day. It's really cool. Tar Heel Nation travels well. The arena was littered with Carolina fans, and it felt like I was making friends everywhere. It was awesome. So we win 92-67. It was really never in doubt. I guess maybe halfway through the first half, and then we kind of went on a spurt, and it was a wrap. But it was a good day to be a Tar Heel. How do you feel about the game? And can we move into, because it's already upon us, it's Pitt. Like, we can't even celebrate the win. It's game day, and we play Pitt here in a few hours.
Yeah, I'm feeling great about the win. I mean, it's just so enjoyable to watch, just the effort.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really sure what we would get. And, in a way, I almost expected us to lose this game just because I did, because the celebration of beating Duke, winning the ACC outright, it'd have been easy, I think, to go into that game not fully focused and not locked in. And, and we did get off to a bit of a slow start, right? We're down 16-15 at the 10-minute mark. We had a bunch of early turnovers. And then Elliot Cadeau happened. And from the 11-minute mark to about, I guess it was the 5-minute mark when he had to go out with the 2 bloody knees. I mean, he played, I thought, at an All-American point guard level, during that 5-6 minute stretch.
Yeah.
And, I wrote down all the possessions. Maybe we won't walk through them. But, if somebody missed it, or you want to see what I think Elliot Cadeau can be, I mean, hopefully the next 2 weeks, but certainly if he comes back next year, what he can be next year. I think that was a taste of the ceiling for him, and it was incredible. And I just thought he really lit the fuse with his energy during that stretch, getting on the floor for those loose balls. You could see the team react to that energy. And then from then on, we go on that, whatever it was, 30-10 run to end the half. That was awesome to watch. And then from there, we were just rolling.
Yeah, I had a chance to sit next to him. One of the cool things about the ACC tournament is there's fans from all of the teams, and I was sitting next to a Wake Forest fan because Wake Forest, unfortunately, didn't advance, but they played after us. And he mentioned to me at one point in the game, I can't believe the Cadeau player, I don't think he was a big basketball connoisseur. I think he was a Wake fan. He was supporting Wake Forest. But he was like, I can't believe that Cadeau only has, I think at the time he had 6 points. Feels like he's got 20. You're just saying it was always big plays, first to the floor, just surrounding, and then the energy. I felt like he, more so than any other game I had watched, and maybe because I was in the building, it felt like he was leading the team in certain ways yesterday, and it was great to see. I mean, everybody I felt played well, and that has been a common theme. And I feel like when our wings play well, RJ and Mondo, I think, are now kind of solidified. We know what we're going to get, and even if they're kind of off, they know how to impact the game because they're that experienced. But when you get Cadeau playing at his best and in a confident space, and you get the wings, Ryan and Ingram going, I feel like we can compete with anybody in the nation. And yesterday they handled business. Now today it's going to be a different game. I got a chance to be in the building for the Pitt game as well. Did a little scouting. Me and Mr. Roy Williams were here, and we both had our little pens and pads out. People were like, "Hey, your team already won, man. What are you doing?" Like, I'm doing research. I'm getting ready for tomorrow. Pitt, it's going to be a tough one. They are physical. I went back and looked at their schedule. I mean, they don't have a bad loss in the last 2 months. I mean, they've won 4 out of their last 5. They've won 4 or 5 straight now. They've won at Duke. They've won at Virginia. They've got big wins. I think they started 1-5 in the conference, and they end up with the double bye at the 4 seed. So they've peaked. They've really found their stride and their footing, and I think it's going to be a tough game for us. But again, it's the ACC semifinals, so regardless, that was going to be a tough game.
Right, I agree. I mean, obviously Blake Henson's first team ACC. Not only is he a great shooter, but he's a great tough shot maker. So he doesn't really have to be open to hurt you. And then, Bub Carrington, first team all ACC freshman team. I think he had a very good game against us up there. Leggett, who I think comes off the bench for them, if I'm not wrong, but I think he went for 30 yesterday.
Yeah, he exploded yesterday. Yeah, he outworked everyone on the floor. If you were in the building, it just looked like he wanted it more than anyone on the floor. And I think at this point in time, you get down to all the teams that are winning. It condenses to the best teams in the league. It's just who wants it more, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're top 10 in the country at avoiding turnovers. I think they're a very good rebounding team. By the way, our rebounding yesterday was phenomenal. I don't know if you saw the broadcast, but you probably got home really late last night. But there's at one point where in the first half, I think Ingram and Baycott had out rebounded the entire Florida State team. It was incredible. Wow. And then I think what was our rebounding advantage for the game yesterday? It was like 28 or something like that. 26.
Yeah.
So that's that's gonna be tough to do today. I think they have like multiple guys with length. They have those 2 twins, and then the starter, who I forget his name, but several 7-footers.
Frederico, maybe.
Yeah. And so I think this is a tough matchup for Baycott to really dominate. And then they have some very good shot makers. I think they're 253rd in the country in tempo. So they don't turn the ball over, they rebound, they play solid defense, they control the tempo. I think all that points to it being a close game. And down the stretch, we're going to have to execute, and it's probably going to come down who makes a couple big shots. So hopefully that'll be us today.
Yeah, they looked incredibly physical, and when in college basketball, this was my experience. Different reffing crews in different games are ref different ways, and I think you had made the point this year where you kind of don't know until you get into the game 5-6 minutes, maybe the first under 4 media timeout, where you kind of really understand the way the refs are calling the game. From our game to the Pitt game, it looked as if they were reffed 2 different ways. Pitt is very physical. In my day, it was allowed and encouraged and obviously, or not honestly, but honestly coached to, check and bump cutters going through the lane. No freedom of motion. Don't allow the offense to get to the space they want to get to. They've kind of taken that out a lot, and they were letting all of that go yesterday in the Pitt game. So, it'll be interesting to see how it gets called. It'll be interesting to see how we adjust to that. And I think Pitt is going to, they always say, muck it up, make it a tough game, hands-on, lots of fouls, lots of, putting the refs in positions to like, man, we don't want to stop the game flow continuously. So they're going to let a lot of things go, I think. But I think it's going to be challenging. I went back and looked at the previous game. I mean, we played them at the beginning of January. So obviously a completely different team. And they started 1-5. I think we were their second game in the ACC. But Henson was like 2 of 11 from 3. I don't think he does that again. Leggett only had like 6 or 8 points. I think Leggett's he's found his groove. He's not going to have another game like that. So going to be a completely different game. but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to help us solidify if we have a shot at that 1 seed. I think we have to win the ACC tournament, and this is a big step. I think Pitt is, with Duke falling. I know UVA is tough because of their style of play, but I think Pitt is the best team left outside of the University of North Carolina. So I think today is a very telling tale for who's going to take down the ACC championship tournament.
Yeah, I agree. UVA, we always struggle with them in that style. And so if that ends up being the matchup, if we can get through Pitt, I would expect that to be a tough game too.
Yeah.
If we end up getting State, State will have played, will that be their fourth or fifth game? So you would think just from a fatigue perspective, we'd have a big advantage in that one. But yeah, I would expect this game. Yeah, I agree with you. I think just how the teams are playing right now, Pitt's probably the best team left that we would have to beat.
Yeah. Very tough. Go ahead.
I just I think it was, a week or two ago, maybe before the Duke game or before the Notre Dame game, we were talking about, hey, it's been nice. We're eking out some wins, but it doesn't feel like we're in March form and that we're peaking.
Sure.
And so I just want to retract that officially. I apologize to everyone listening.
Yeah.
Because the last three games, the Notre Dame game, the Duke game, and then the game yesterday, what a joy to watch. I mean, absolutely, this is what you hope to see this time of year. I'd say kind of regardless of what happens today, obviously I'd love to win and keep the roll going.
Yeah.
But feel great about where the team is, feel great about the contributions we're getting up and down the lineup. Feel like the bench has gotten back to the contributions it was making, during that stretch when we were, top 2 or 3 team in the country. And so it just feels like, obviously Cormac is great to see him stay hot after the Duke game and go 3 for 4 from 3, I believe. It just feels like, all the things that you would want to see are falling into place. Freshman point guard is playing at his highest level. Cormac's finally kind of settled into a groove, and really, Ingram and Mondo and RJ have been pretty steady all year, and now the pieces around them are really complementing them well.
Yeah. I mean, when you win the ACC outright, and I think it ended up being 2 games because we took that last one from Duke, you're going to win some accolades. So congratulations to the guys on an incredible season. Obviously, we didn't recap it, but RJ being the ACC Player of the Year and Mondo being, first team All Defense, second team All Conference. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Harrison was third team, and
Harrison was third team. Yeah,
and Elliot was on the All Rookie team. So
and
when
Hubert,
the team wins,
Hubert won Coach of the Year.
Yeah, when the team wins, those things come, and hopefully they celebrated that and they enjoyed their teammates and everything like that. But I do think, and from hearing some of the interviews and seeing some of the guys, and I'm fortunate to be here with Jay Williams, so I've been in the back and I've gotten a chance to hear certain conversations. It didn't seem as if the Carolina program was like, all right, cool. We've done enough. We won the ACC regular season, and we've got some hardware for some of our best players. It seemed as if their mission was to come here to win a banner, hang a banner, and then get on to a deep run into the NCAA tournament, Final Four, hopefully national championship. So it's just really cool because at first within the season, when we hit that rocky point, I felt like, oh, this team doesn't handle success well. And it seems as if not that they've matured. Maybe they always handled it well and it was just a bad month. But from a fan perspective, they've been doing really well, handling success really well, staying focused, staying locked in, and building on success, not having a good game and coming out and kind of staying in the same place. It's like they're raising it. They're getting better, and they're locking in. They're playing defense, and it's just really cool to see the team not falter or misstep after a big win at Duke. Whereas before, we get the win at Duke at home and we bookend them with losses. And it's like, oh, well, we weren't really, we had the Duke hangover. Well, I'm glad we learned that lesson. And it seems as if the team has been able to handle, okay, we compartmentalize this one win here. This was amazing. Let's get to some tape. Well, what's the next step? And that's great to see from a fan standpoint because, you get anxiety. You're like, man, I hope we just come out and we're as close to the best versions of ourselves as we can be, because now it's win or go home.
Yeah, they're not satisfied, right? They could have been satisfied with a share of the ACC tournament and come out and not fought like they did against Duke, but they weren't satisfied. They could have been satisfied with outright regular season, all those postseason accolades, everybody telling them how great they were all week, and come out, against Florida State and not play well. But they didn't. I mean, I thought Schulman and Billis on the broadcast did a good job talking about, hey, this is a blue blood program that Hubert has playing like a blue collar program. I assume it came across in person. It absolutely came across in the broadcast. I mean, we were getting every loose ball. I mean, you don't out rebound somebody by 26, especially a tall, long team like Florida State. It's not like we're physically dominant against them.
Tallest team in America.
I mean, every loose ball, every long rebound, Elliot Cadeau first to the floor. I mean, you didn't get to see the replay, but that second one where he sort of went around the Florida State player, he maybe went 10 feet when that Florida State player had 2 feet to go to like get on the floor. And I mean, and it was just like that effort all over the floor shows like this team is not done. They're not satisfied.
Yeah.
And so, as a fan, I mean, how do you not just stand up and applaud and appreciate, the hunger and the effort and the will? I mean, if this is the Hubert Davis brand, I'm
all in for it.
I'm all in for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if this is the Hubert Davis brand, I mean, it's defensive intensity, effort, hunger, blue collar, share the ball, joy and passion, rooting for your teammates. I mean, it's just, I mean, as a fan, it's like everything you could want, from a basketball team. And so, I mean, I just sat there with a smile on my face watching that game yesterday. Just like, I mean, what else can you ask for? I mean, this is wonderful, wonderful basketball.
Yeah. Also, just to echo all of those sentiments, the fan base, it's really cool. Obviously, I would imagine when you're in the Dean Dome, I haven't been in the Dean Dome in a very long time, but I would imagine when you're in the Dean Dome and you were there, you got a chance to see it firsthand. Just the excitement in the building, the energy in the building around the fan base. To see that at a neutral site like the ACC tournament, I mean, Carolina fans travel well. It was a 12 o'clock game. It was the first game on a work day, and Carolina represented. It was so loud in there. It was really cool. Walking to the restroom, you're walking down the venue, and people are going, "Oh!" Like it just, and everybody else is going, "Hills!" And so it was just a really, really cool experience. I loved every second of it. I'm looking forward to today. I'm a little nervous because obviously I want to win. And I think Pitt is a very worthy opponent. I think they're playing as well as anybody in the ACC. Outside of us, I feel like the last week, Carolina has really solidified itself as one of the top teams in the country. But it's going to be a great day. And this is what the ACC semifinals are about. I've never been to the ACC tournament, so it's a wonderful way to break it in. And it's going to be an exciting time to be a Carolina fan moving forward. Hopefully, if this is the brand of basketball that Hubert Davis is going to hang his hat on.
Yeah. Yeah. I was up there in 2016 when we won it and we beat Virginia in the finals. And it was, the stadium was maybe 50-50, maybe we were 60-40. I don't know, but man, hopefully we get back there again. Whether it's Virginia or State. I think that would be, two long historic rivals, I think would just be an incredible environment and atmosphere. And, it was one of those games that's pretty electric, everybody's on the edge of their seat every possession. So hopefully we take care of business today and are able to play in that environment tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, we're up here in DC, obviously not too far from Virginia, and Virginia took over the arena last night for the Boston College game. I mean, it was every bucket was the lid was blowing off the place. So I
Well,
don't
they
mind
needed
playing
it.
Virginia.
They
Yeah,
needed every inch of it.
they did. I don't mind. I don't want to play Virginia. I've made it known I'm not a fan of watching Virginia play too much, and you and we support Virginia, and we kind of have Virginia ties in our family. But the fan base, obviously, it's not as far a drive, and they came in droves. It was a home game for Virginia last night. I'm sure it'll be a home game for Virginia today against NC State. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good game. Duke obviously losing. The arena was going crazy. All the Carolina fans were cheering for NC State on top of the NC State fans. So like the place was going nuts for NC State last night as well. It was just a cool day for college basketball. If you love college basketball, whether you're a Carolina fan or not, like Carolina wins, you're on a high. And then just to see all of the dominoes fall in a way where it was a little enjoyable for a Carolina fan. And I'm walking around with questionably one of the most legendary players. I don't think it's an argument. Duke players in the history of, and I'm decked out in Carolina gear. And he's like, man, I can't take you anywhere because people are asking me why's your security guard wearing Carolina stuff? It's like,
what do you make of that Duke loss? I mean, it was very surprising to me. Earlier in the day, I had said, work with a Duke alum, and I said to her, I said, there's a 99% chance Duke wins the ACC tournament, and I say that just because I feel like they always
won
win
it last year.
Yeah, they always win the ACC tournament. I just feel like they have been playing very well, up into, and I think they played very well in our game. We just played incredible. Yeah. And I just felt like they would have that fire and hunger to try to get a championship, given they were denied the regular season. And I don't know, they didn't really come out. And I missed the first half of that game. So, I turned it on as basically tied at halftime or something like that. But it didn't seem like they had the energy. I don't know what that means for them, when it comes to the NCAA tournament. Maybe it means nothing. But they can't really be, all that confident right now. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they can turn it around.
Yeah, I heard a lot of interesting commentary from Mr. Jay Williams on the team yesterday. But it looked like they were flat. And I had felt on that run where they won 10 or 11 straight or 11 out of 12 and really started playing at a top 5 caliber level team that the guards in the backcourt were really kind of pushing the team forward. Filipowski had a great game yesterday. Mark Mitchell had a great game yesterday. But the guards didn't seem aggressive. They seemed very passive. They took a step back. And defensively, I just don't think that they were connected. Like certain guys were playing hard and certain guys, there'd be one guy where he loses his assignment and NC State gets a good look. And it just, when you're in the building, it's hard to see everything. And this is going to be so, anyone that's still watching this is not a humble brag, but I was on the floor right behind the game day desk. So it was really hard to see, like, when you're floor level, you're not above it. You can't really see all the intricacies of the game, but it just felt like on important possessions, scrapping for loose balls and getting a layup or, not securing the defensive rebound and giving up an easy bucket or a dunk at crucial points of the time where usually Duke makes winning plays, especially in the ACC tournament. They just weren't being made on a consistent basis yesterday. And so, a lot of people were saying it was effort. I don't know. It was hard to see from my vantage point if guys were just kind of lackadaisical, but it didn't seem as if they were completely locked in. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. I mean, I think one advantage we have over Duke right now at this point in the season is, I think our roles are much more clearly defined about who's going to do what and what are they responsible for on the team. And I think, one of their strengths is their depth, and I do think they've got a lot of talent. But like you said, it's like kind of unclear from game to game.
Yeah.
Who's supposed to be doing what, and I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I could still see them making a long run, but this definitely feels like a Duke team that could also get bounced a little bit early, depending on the matchup that they get, particularly if they get a matchup with somebody that has a really strong front line, because I just don't think they handle that well, and some length on the perimeter to take away the threes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak for Filipowski, but I don't think he likes to bang in the paint. I think that he's required to do so on this team just because they don't have an offensive paint presence. So, he's asked to do a lot of things that might not be his preference. But we'll see. Again, in like you said, I love and big shout out Mr. Seth Trimble. I thought he was incredible yesterday and talking about guys that have embraced their role. You've got Rhodes, Proctor, and McCain, and like kind of don't know who the lead dog is in that. You would think Jeremy Roach, being a senior, he is, but I looked up last night. I don't know the line now, but he had like 5 points and 1 rebound, and it just kind of was a non-factor. McCain has been questionably their best player, and he didn't have a great game. But then Proctor's their big, has the biggest upside as a pro or the NBA. So I don't know in the locker room where the hierarchy lies or where the leadership comes from, and we don't cover them the way that we cover Carolina. So that's their issue to deal with. I'm glad we don't seem to have that issue, and I love that guys have embraced their roles. Guys know what exactly is going on and how they can impact the team in a positive in a way. So I love where Carolina's at. I'm pumped for today. Do I dare get a prediction from you? I'm almost forced to make you pick Pitt because you picked Duke.
All right, I'll take Pitt then.
No,
if that makes you feel better.
No, just give me your honest. I'm nervous, but I'm excited for the game, and I love that it's a night session. Like, it's gonna be a great bunch of games. Hopefully, you can get home and watch it. I don't know if you'll be able to catch everything.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a grind, but I think this team, this Carolina team, is better equipped to handle the grind and to handle the physicality than some of the prior year teams. And I just think we seem we're not satisfied. We seem like we actually really want to win this thing.
Yeah.
So I expect we're going to come out and play well, and so I think we'll be able to get some separation in the second half and end up winning. I'm going to say by 5.
Nice. Taking the Hills by 5.
Yeah, 70-65. We'll go 70-65.
All right, cool. I got 69-65. I got us winning by 4. I always come down to it's going to be a 1 possession game. We're going to get a stop and they're going to foul us. I feel like that's. But the way we're playing, I want to say we win by 11. But it's the semis. It's playoff basketball in college. So we'll see how it goes. But great day to be at Tar Heel.
Well, and I think Pitt is still firmly on the bubble. My guess is they get in with a win. And so I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic for the game, just because they can't be any more motivated than that, I would imagine. And so you're going to get 100% their best shot. This is essentially an NCAA tournament game for them, not to mention the ACC tournaments on the line. And so I think it's going to be interesting. I was surprised that it looked like we wanted the game so much more than Florida State. And so, the question will be, can we match what Pitt's want to is? I expect we will. And if we do, I think we'll win.
Yeah, amazing. Do you think, last question, do you think Wake's out now? Do you think Wake is out?
I do. Lenardi has
Clemson
them on the first 4. No, I think they'll still get in. I think Wake is now first 4 out. I think Virginia would have been in deep trouble had they lost last night.
Right.
Depending on what happens in some of these other mid-major tournaments, because there could have been some bid stealers in there. Like, I think in the A10, like all the high seeds, Duquesne lost, Richmond lost. So there's going to be a bid stealer in the A10. So, you get 2 or 3 bid stealers and you're that last 4 in, the math doesn't work very well for you. So I think they're okay now. And I think Clemson's probably still okay. There's probably still going to be some butterflies on Sunday. If you're a Clemson fan, I wouldn't feel that great, but I think they're probably still in. But I think Wake's, I don't know how they get in anymore. Plus, after that Duke game, they had it, and then they lost 3 of their last 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're talking to somebody who was a part of Selection Sunday and our bubble burst. So it's a brutal wait. And Bid
Awful.
Steelers, does Kenyon Martin doesn't break his foot at Cincinnati and they lose their conference tournament. We make the NCAA tournament. But unfortunately, he breaks his foot, Cincinnati loses, someone else in that conference wins the automatic. So since he gets the at large bid, and that was our spot. So our bubble burst, and we were on the selection show. We're talking to the committee. I'm in the background, just rubbing my head, just depressed. So it's going to be a long wait for some of these ACC teams, and unfortunately, I think it looks like 4 at the max. Pitt being the 4th entry, but hopefully it's going to be a long wait for them because I don't want them to be firmly in because that means we would have dropped.
Yeah, agreed. And I'll be rooting for Mississippi State today as well to knock off Tennessee because I would like that 1 seed.
Same here. All right. Well, if you're still watching, please, I forgot to do this at the top of the show, like and subscribe. Like it's been amazing. The Duke video, man, like I know it's Duke, so everybody's like, taking as much content and celebrating as much as they can. But seems like we had a bunch of people to join the family. So if you guys are new and like hanging out, we just 2 guys that love Carolina basketball. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll have a long, enjoyable ride from here. So hope everybody's with us for it.
That's right. Go Heels.
Go Heels.